He hunted his own brother down. One brother murdered their father. The other brother spent years hunting him down. And when they finally met again, there was only one way this was going to end. With a Winchester rifle. Not just any Winchester, a legendary 1 in 1,000 rifle. The prize in a shooting contest that would bring two brothers face to face for the first time in years. This is Winchester 73, and in 1950, James Stewart was about to show Hollywood a side of himself nobody had seen before. This wasn't the gentle, reassuring Stewart of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This man was angry, dangerous, and absolutely determined to find the man who murdered his father, his own brother.
Hey. I'll take you to him! Right now!
The Hunt. Stewart played Lynn McAdam, a dead-eyed marksman, riding across the West with one goal: find Dutch Henry Brown. Dutch Henry isn't just an outlaw. He's Lynn's brother, and he's the man who killed their father.
Since I can't remember.
That's right, we've never been this close before.
Years of pursuit finally bring them together at a shooting contest in Dodge City. The prize, a magnificent Winchester rifle. Lynn wants it, Dutch Henry wants it, and both men know exactly who they're standing against. Then comes the contest. Shot after shot, target after target. The tension keeps building until Lynn wins. He's holding the rifle. The prize is his.
On the gun stock. So if you let it.
But Dutch Henry isn't finished. He steals the Winchester and disappears. And just like that, Lynn loses the one thing he thought he'd finally won. But the rifle becomes something much bigger than a prize. It becomes the thread connecting one violent encounter to another. The Winchester changes hands, again and again. It is stolen, gambled over, fought for, and carried into situations where men will kill to possess it. A gun runner gets involved. Cavalrymen find themselves under attack. Outlaws close in. And everywhere that rifle goes, violence follows. The weapon becomes almost like a character in the story. Constantly moving, constantly pursued, always dragging the next man into danger. And then there are the faces. Dan Duryea plays one of the film's most memorable villains.
Down in the Big Blue, just for jokes. And who's there? Noonan the Marshal and a dozen men from the Triangle.
And among the supporting cast is a young Rock Hudson, appearing years before he would become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. But none of them matter as much as the two brothers, because eventually that rifle is going to lead Lynn straight back to Dutch Henry. And this time, there won't be another escape. Stewart Unleashed. What makes Winchester 73 hit so hard is James Stewart, because Stewart doesn't play Lynn McAdam like an invincible hero. He gets hurt, he gets knocked down, he gets beaten. And one fight in particular is shockingly brutal. Lynn is disarmed and beaten down in a vicious physical struggle that feels far rougher than the polished Hollywood fights audiences had become accustomed to. He's not walking away untouched. He's not guaranteed to win. And that's exactly what makes him dangerous to watch. The audience knows Stewart. They trust him. They expect him to be the good guy. But they don't know whether this good guy is going to survive. Stewart himself later explained the difference between his Western characters and the seemingly unstoppable heroes played by stars like John Wayne. With Wayne, audiences often felt they knew the hero would eventually win. With Stewart, there was always a question. That uncertainty became one of the defining qualities of his Western career, and director Anthony Mann knew exactly how to use it. He took one of America's most recognizable leading men and stripped away the safety net. Stewart could still be the hero, but he could bleed, he could lose, he could be humiliated, and he could be consumed by revenge. The final showdown. Then comes the moment everything has been building toward. Lynn finally finds Dutch Henry. The brothers face each other high in the rocks. No crowd, no shooting contest, no prize. Just two men who have spent years moving toward this moment. The terrain is brutal. The distance between them offers almost no protection. One mistake means death, and every shot brings the brothers closer to the end. This isn't a clean Hollywood showdown where the hero walks confidently into the street and everything is settled in 30 seconds. It's tense, desperate, and ugly. Because Lin isn't fighting a stranger. He's hunting his own brother. And now there is nowhere left to run. Why Winchester 73 mattered. The film did something else that would have a huge impact on Hollywood. Stewart's agent, Lew Wasserman, negotiated a percentage of the profits instead of the conventional flat salary. At the time, that was a revolutionary arrangement, and it worked very well. Winchester 73 became a major success, and suddenly James Stewart wasn't a fading star trying to recover his old position. He was back, and now he had something new, an edge. The film launched one of the most popular, most important partnerships of his career. 8 films with director Anthony Mann. 5 were westerns, and together they developed a formula that would define Stewart's darker period. Put the most trusted, decent-looking man in Hollywood into a world where decency isn't enough. Make him vulnerable, make him angry, make him capable of violence, and then make the audience wonder whether he can survive the consequences. That formula produced Bend of the River, The Naked Spur, The Far Country, and The Man from Laramie. But it started here, with a stolen Winchester, a murdered father, and 2 brothers riding toward the same mountain. One of them came looking for revenge. The other came looking for a way out. They weren't going to get both. Because in Winchester 73, the rifle changes hands. The men change. The violence escalates. But one thing never changes. Lin McAdam is coming for his brother. And when he finally catches him, only one of them is walking away. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.